In a forgotten corner of the state of Mexico, among arid mountains and dusty paths, lived Don Pancho, a man with rough hands and a noble heart. From a young age, he had learned that life in the countryside gives no respite. You work from the moment the rooster crows until the sky is painted with stars. His wife, Dona Paz, was his invisible strength, the woman who kept the household standing, cared for their 16 children, and still found time to smile, even though poverty breathed down their necks. The sun burned hotter each day, and the lands, once green and generous, had turned grey. The rains no longer came, the animals died of thirst, and the corn cobs dried up before ripening. Don Pancho rose every morning with the hope of seeing life sprout in his fields, but all he saw was dust. "I don't know what to do anymore, Paz," he murmured in a weary voice. She, never losing faith, always replied the same, "God squeezes, Pancho, but he doesn't strangle. Something good will come." One afternoon, as the wind blew as if carrying bad news, Don Pancho saw a black crow perch on the roof of his house. The bird stared at him, fearless, and let out a caw so loud it silenced the dogs. Don Paz crossed herself. "That's not a good sign," she said, clutching her rosary between her fingers. Don Pancho tried to ignore it, but deep down he felt something was about to change. That night, the air was thick, and the silence was so deep you could hear the sighs of the earth. Don Pancho went out for a walk, his machete hanging from his belt, and his mind heavy with sad thoughts. He walked to the old cemetery, where the crosses leaned as if praying in secret. There, beneath a gnarled mesquite tree, he found something strange, a small light flickering over an unmarked grave. He approached cautiously, and, upon digging a little, discovered an old bottle sealed with red wax. Inside the bottle was a rolled-up piece of paper. He took it out carefully and read, "Whoever breaks this seal must offer their soul in exchange for fortune, and only their compadre can guide them back." Don Pancho frowned. He didn't understand the meaning, but something inside told him not to break it. Yet desperation was stronger than fear. "If this can feed my children, so be it," he muttered, and broke the seal. A cold wind swept through the field, and the moonlight seemed to dim. From the darkness came a deep voice, as if rising from the depths of the earth. "Who dares awaken one who slept?" the voice asked. Don Pancho, trembling, answered firmly, "It's me, Pancho, a poor farmer seeking only hope." From the mist emerged a man dressed in black, with a wide-brimmed hat and eyes glowing like embers. "I was expecting you, compadre," he said with a crooked smile. "From today, your misfortunes will be mine, and your fortune will be your burden." The air smelled of sulphur. Don Pancho wanted to run, but the ground beneath his feet burned. "Don't fear," the man continued. "I haven't come to harm you. I will only fulfill what you asked for." And with that, he touched the ground with his staff. Instantly, the dry field began to moisten. Green sprouts emerged, the trees bloomed, and water flowed again through the stream. Don Pancho couldn't believe it. He knelt and wept. "Thank you. Thank you, compadre." "Don't thank me yet," the man said with a somber look. "Just remember that every gift comes with a debt." The next day, the entire village was amazed to see Don Pancho's fields full of life. Some neighbors said he had found a hidden spring. Others swore he had made a pact with the spirits of the hill. He only smiled, saying nothing. In time, the family prospered. They had food, animals, and even money to repair the old house. But luck, like a river, can turn at any moment. One night, as they slept, a thunderclap roared in the sky, and the earth shook violently. Dona Paz woke with a start and shouted her husband's name. Pancho ran out to the yard where he saw water gushing violently from the ground. In a matter of minutes, The well that had appeared in his field turned into a dark whirlpool, devouring everything in its path. "Compadre!" he shouted in desperation. And, as if he had been waiting, the figure of the man in black appeared amidst the dust. "Calling me again, Pancho?" he asked in a deep voice. "Help me, compadre. It's taking my land, my work, everything." The man looked at him and said, "What the water gives, the water takes. I cannot stop what you yourself unleashed." And Pancho fell to his knees. "Then why did you give me all this?" The compadre approached and placed a hand on his shoulder. "To teach you that fortune without sacrifice is a river without a channel. But you can still save your own." The man pointed toward the mountain and gave him an instruction. He must follow the water's course until dawn, without looking back, and there he would find his destiny. Without hesitation, Don Pancho gathered his family and began to walk. Behind them, the house sank slowly, swallowed by water and mud. They walked all night. The children cried, Dona Paz prayed, and old Pancho could barely hold his machete. When the first ray of sun touched the hill's peak, they reached a clearing where the water stopped, forming a small lake. On the lake's edge was an abandoned hut. Pancho approached, and to his surprise, found sacks of corn, beans, and a lit fire inside, as if someone had been waiting for them. Dona Paz knelt and wept. "It was him, Pancho, your compadre." He nodded, looking at the lake's reflection. "Yes, Paz, but something tells me this isn't over." That same night, as everyone slept, Pancho went outside. The moon reflected on the water, and there, in the reflection, he saw his compadre again, sitting on a rock, drinking from a bottle of aguardiente. "Why do you keep helping me?" Pancho asked. "Because we're compadres, and compadres don't abandon each other. But remember, the next time you call me, I'll come to collect what's mine." Pancho swallowed hard. "And what's mine to you?" The compadre smiled. "Your word. And when a man breaks his word, his soul is left empty." The reflection vanished with the wind. Pancho returned to the hut, uneasy, knowing something dark would follow him for the rest of his days. In the months that followed, the family prospered again, but Don Pancho couldn't sleep. Every night, he dreamed of the lake, the broken bottle, and the compadre's voice repeating his warning. One day, he decided to bury the bottle he had found that night in the seminary, thinking it would break the bond. But when he dug a hole by the lake, he found another identical bottle, sealed, waiting for him. "This can't be," he murmured. But a voice behind him replied, "Nothing escapes the deal, compadre. Nothing." The next dawn brought a sky red as embers, and Don Pancho knew the day would not be ordinary. He woke his older sons and asked them to check the corral, for during the night he had heard a strange bellowing in the wind, as if an invisible bull were pushing against the planks. Dona Paz, with her hair tied back and a clean apron, prepared coffee and some atole. "Don't forget to give thanks for what we have," she said, placing a gentle hand on her husband's shoulder. Pancho nodded, but his gaze remained fixed on the horizon, where the hill seemed to have eyes. "Today we'll build new fences," he said at last. "And then we'll go to the lake." Work couldn't wait. They fixed fences, checked the corn sacks, and remarked the boundary between the hut and the forest, as some village hunters had been trespassing without permission. At noon, 3 men arrived in an old pickup truck. They wore low-brimmed hats and knives at their belts. "Good day, Don Pancho," said the leader in a syrupy voice. "We've come to buy some cattle." Pancho noticed the glint of their knives and the malicious laugh of the third man, and he recalled his compadre's warning, "Do not give generosity born of fear." "I don't sell cattle," he replied calmly. "Here there's only work and the little water guard grants. On my land only sweat flows," Pancho added, standing his ground. The strangers exchanged glances. "Look, old man, we don't want trouble. Show us where the water comes from, and we'll leave." Dona Paz stepped to the door, held their gaze, and said calmly, "No one enters here by force." The skinniest one let out a laugh and took a step forward. Pancho felt his blood boil, but he also felt fear for his children. "Get out," he said, "or you'll force me to call my compadre." The word compadre fell like a stone in a pond. The three men froze, and the leader pressed his lips together. "What compadre?" "The one who owes me favors," Pancho said, weighing the machete in his hand. A sudden gust whipped through the mesquites, and in the lake, a whirlpool spun without touching the water. The men paled. "We don't want trouble, Don," muttered the third, stepping back. They climbed into the truck and, amid dust and curses, disappeared down the path. "Pancho," Dona Paz said when the noise faded, "I don't like it when you invoke him. Every time you say his name, the house grows cold." He embraced her. "I just want no one to harm us." But that night, Pancho's sleep was deep and black. He dreamed of a hallway of doors, all closed except one. Behind that door, he heard the compadre's laughter mixed with a child's cry. He woke sweating, with the moon at half-crescent. He went out to the yard, and there he was, sitting as if he owned the place, wide-brimmed hat, dusty boots, a bottle of aguardiente in hand, and that ember-like glow in his eyes. "You came quick," Pancho said. The compadre tilted the bottle. "You called me, or almost. Your fears whistle to me like flutes." Pancho swallowed. "Some men came, looking for the spring. Mouths seek water. Eyes seek greed," the compadre replied. "Want me to take care of them?" There was an edge in the word care. Pancho shook his head. "No. As long as they don't cross the fence, let them go." The compadre gave a faint smile. "Your call, compadre. But you'll tire of being good." Before leaving, he pointed to the lake's edge. "Under that flat stone, there's a box. Open it tomorrow at dawn. Not before." He vanished like smoke. When the sun gilded the hilltops, Pancho lifted the stone and found a wooden box tied with hemp. He opened it and found new tools: 2 hoes, a small plow, and seed packets marked with crosses and dates. "Plant these first," it read. Dona Paz blessed the seeds. They planted together, carefully, and within days, the furrows showed a humble, steadfast green like a promise. The rumor of the miracles spread through the village again. Some came to buy vegetables. Pancho sold at a fair price and gave away just enough, remembering his compadre's warning, "Don't give away what I give you, for it draws envious eyes." Still, Pancho's heart was wide, and when a widow arrived with 3 children, he filled their sack without charge. That afternoon, the clouds closed over the hill like a furrowed brow. That night, a dust storm battered the hut. The children huddled on their mats, and the animals pounded the corral's posts, amid the howling gusts. Pancho heard a whisper close to his ear, "I warned you." He lit a candle and saw, in the flame, the compadre's red eye flickering. "I don't want more punishments," he said. The candle sputtered and went out on its own. Outside, the dust turned to brown hail that pierced the roof like iron seeds. When the storm subsided, half the cornfield was destroyed. The children gathered broken stalks, and Pancho drove new stakes with his jaw clenched. "It was my fault," he murmured, picking up broken stalks. Don Paz took his face. "It wasn't your fault, Pancho. The clouds command. And if it was punishment, then the one who punishes must also take pity." That night, before sleeping, they prayed. At dawn, Pancho walked to the cemetery, brought flowers to the spot where he'd found the first bottle, and sat under the gnarled mesquite. "Compadre," he said without pride, "I don't want riches. I want peace for my home." The tree's shadow stretched to cover his feet, like a cloak. "Peace isn't bought or begged like bread," the bodiless voice replied. "Peace is held like a full jug with both hands." Pancho waited. "Teach me then." The compadre appeared, this time with a tired face, as if he hadn't slept in nights. "I'll ask you for something that doesn't suit me. Share, but with wisdom. And I'll give you something I don't like to give: time." He extended his staff and traced a circle in the dust. "As long as this circle exists, no harm will cross to your home. But every unjust act you commit will crack it. And if you give out of pride or fear, the circle will crack." "Understood," Pancho nodded. "Understood, compadre." "Good. Now listen. The men from the truck will return. They'll bring an old man with glass eyes who knows crooked prayers. Don't fight them where the dead drink. Lead them where the water laughs. There, I'll handle it." Pancho returned with the sun high. The children were mending the roof, and Donna Paz was cooking beans with avocado leaves. "Paz," he said, "we'll eat early today, in case visitors come." She didn't ask. She knew that gravity in her husband's voice. At dusk, the engine roared in the distance. The truck returned, this time with 4 men and a gaunt old man, skin rough as bark, eyes clear and dry. They stepped out without greeting. "Good evening, Don Pancho," said the leader. "Today we're not here to ask. We're here to take." Pancho didn't grab his machete. He wiped his hands on his pants and pointed to the path toward the lake. "If you've come for water, follow me." The old man with glass eyes smiled like a knife. "Very kind." They walked in a line. The sky turned purple, and mosquitoes danced over the puddles. At the lake's edge, the air grew cold. Pancho's sons, hidden among the reeds, clutched stones. Donna Paz prayed silently. "There it is," Pancho said, pointing to the spot where the whirlpool had danced days before. The old man stepped forward and muttered words that weren't from church. The water barely trembled, as if holding its breath. "There's a guardian here," said the man with glass eyes. "A guardian with hunger." The leader laughed. "Then let it eat at another table." He stepped toward the water, but the ground sank beneath him like flour, and he fell to his knee. He cursed and tried to pull free. The other 2 stepped back. "Compadre," Pancho said firmly, "if there's a debt, here I am. If there's justice, let it be done." The air swirled. The lake raised a veil of mist, and within it, the silhouette of the man in black took shape. The old man with glass eyes lowered his head. "Lord of the shore," he murmured, "we don't come against you but beneath you." The compadre laughed, a toothless laugh. "They always come from below, never from the front." The leader, still trapped, drew his knife. "Get me out, or I'll bury you in your own mud." The compadre raised a hand. The water tightened around the man's leg and then released him. He fell back, soaked and furious. "Get out," Pancho said, "and don't come back." The old man looked at the compadre, who made a slight nod. The 4 retreated without further threats. When they were gone, the compadre turned to Pancho. "Today I protected you because you called with truth," he said. "But your circle already has its first crack." Pancho swallowed. "Why?" 'cause you offered your debt in front of your own. Don't open the jug in the marketplace, compadre. They'll knock it over." Don Pancho bowed his head. "How do I close it?" "With silence and with work." The mist dissipated. Only the damp smell of stones remained. That night, Don Pancho gathered his family. "From today," he said, "we'll give work to those who are hungry and food to those who work with us. No more gifts out of pity or fear. And when we ask for help, let it be first to God and then to our hands." Dona Paz looked at him with pride. The children nodded. At the next dawn, the furrows seemed straighter, the animals calmer, and the air less heavy. The invisible circle held firm as the night fell slowly. Time passed, and with the years, Don Pancho aged in peace. The fields flourished without excess, the children grew up honorable, and Dona Paz remained his steadfast companion. One afternoon of gentle rain, Pancho sat by the lake with his old hat and a bottle of aguardiente. "Compadre," he said to the wind, "you always kept your word." The dark figure appeared beside him with a tired smile. "And you kept yours, old friend." "It's time." Pancho nodded without fear. "I only ask that you keep watching over mine." The compadre raised the bottle. "That's why I came." They drank in silence as the rain fell. At dawn, only 2 footprints remained in the mud. Since then, they say that, on misty nights, you can hear 2 compadres toasting by the lake, guarding the dreams of their own.